scared for reals.
Hey, it's Chris O'Neill.
And Adam Perry.
All right, we're talking about Halloween, not the holiday, but the actual movie franchise this time. We delve deep into the original 1978 slasher classic. Now we're going to talk about the whole legacy. So, Adam, I know this is like your favorite film franchise. Mm-hmm. So I think we both agree that the first Halloween was number one on your list out of all of the Halloween movies. How would you rank 2 through whatever?
Ooh, that's tough.
I know it's tough, but before we delve into it, I just wanted to get your ranking of them.
Right. Well, first of all, I'm going to say happy Halloween to everybody. This is going to part 2 of our little Halloween special here. Obviously the first one is the best. There's no doubt about it. There wouldn't have been a franchise with, without the original, and I don't care what anybody says. The original is the best of all of them. So if we're gonna rank them, I'm gonna probably go the original. And again, this is just my personal takes.
Well, obviously,
because I know everyone's gonna disagree. I'm gonna go with Halloween H2O second.
Well, I know you mentioned before we started recording that was like your favorite sequel.
It is my favorite sequel of the Halloween franchise. Then I'll go with the original Halloween 2. Then 4, 6, 5, Resurrection.
Wow, you liked 5 better than Resurrection, huh?
You know what? We'll get into it later. I have interesting takes on Resurrection that most fans don't.
All right.
And then I would do the Rob Zombie ones first, second. Actually, you know what? I guess I keep forgetting the David Gordon Green sequels. Well, I'm putting Halloween Kills and Halloween. I'm putting Halloween Ends for sure at the very last.
Wow, even worse than Halloween 5.
Halloween Ends was absolutely terrible.
That's what I heard.
And Halloween Kills was good for the first 45 minutes, and then it went to. So it's not much better than that one. But the first David Gordon Green one, I really, really liked. So you know what? I'm probably going to put... All right, so I'm going to go Halloween H2O, Halloween 2, Halloween David Gordon Green.
Wow.
Halloween 4, 6, 5, Resurrection, and Rob Zombie movies, then Kills and Ends.
Wow. So you liked Halloween 5 over Rob Zombie.
I didn't like the Rob Zombie movies at all.
I didn't like his second one. But anyway, so let's go in an order of your ranking and talk why H2O was like your favorite Halloween sequel. What is it about that movie the appeal?
Yeah, so H2O comes out literally right as I'm discovering these movies.
Gotcha.
And so I don't know. I just thought it was really cool how they kind of... they bring Jamie Lee Curtis back for the first time in 20 years, hence H2O.
Right. So it was like it came out in 98. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think it just played out really, really well. With Michael Myers finally finding his sister in California, kind of hidden away. Her name has been changed. Her whole identity has been changed.
She's in charge of a private boarding school.
Yeah. She's like the headmistress of this boarding school.
Right.
And he finally finds her, and Jamie Lee Curtis. She is now full blown Jamie Lee Curtis. Compared to the original one. So like, she is the big name in this movie, and
right. Not LL Cool J.
Not LL. He was good in it though. Like unlike Busta Rhymes in Resurrection, LL Cool J had like an important, legit part in this movie. So I would have really liked to see them just kind of end it there or do something different, because we all know at the end of H2O she cuts his head off with an axe.
Yeah. What you think is going to be the end?
You would think it was going to be the end, but
obviously not.
Well, we come to find out every time you do one of these movies, the Akkad's put in the contract that they have the right to resurrect him by any means necessary. You know, so.
And I guess from what I'm reading here about H2O is Carpenter wanted to do it despite rumors that he didn't want to do it. He was in negotiations.
He was lukewarm at first.
Right.
They talked about it, and then he ended up backing out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this is the first movie without Donald Pleasance, so again, taking it totally out of Haddonfield kind of worked, you know, and you got Marion Chambers at the beginning, you know, making a cameo and getting her, Jason Gordon-Levitt's, you know, not Jason, Jordan, yeah.
Joseph Gordon.
Gordon, yes. I'm terrible with names. You should know this by now. He makes a cameo. I mean, there's a lot of fun cameos in here. Josh Hartnett, this is his first big movie because Faculty comes out later that year. So this is like his first big movie break, and he's really good as John Strode or John Tate, you know, however you want to call him, because she has changed her name to Laurie Tate. She's no longer Laurie Strode. Cameo by her mother, you know, with the Psycho theme and the car. That was cool.
Oh, Janet Leigh shows up in this. I haven't seen it. So
she plays Jamie Lee Curtis's secretary.
Probably the first movie they've been together in since The Fog.
That I couldn't tell you, but
maybe.
I know it was Janet Leigh's last movie.
Yeah, because it died shortly thereafter.
Yeah, but you know, it's a fun little scene where they're saying goodbye to each other, and Janet Leigh walks to the car that she drove away in, and Psycho, yeah. And they play a little bit of the Psycho theme as she's walking to the car.
Nice.
So I think maybe it's my favorite, other than the original, just because really the time I saw it, like I said, I'm discovering these movies, and then boom, Halloween's back with Jamie Lee Curtis, and
they got Kevin Williamson involved. The guy is no stranger to writing horror movies.
Well, and that's like a lot of people's complaint about this movie. Like they call it the Scream version of Halloween.
Which you also did. I know what you did last summer. That was another big.
Which to a lot of the fans was kind of sacrilegious because, Scream tributes Halloween. So why are we trying to copy Scream? You know. But again, that was just the flavor of those late '90s movies. So then I'll move on to Halloween 2. Halloween 2, the continuation of the first night, which I really liked.
Yeah,
I thought that was a good idea. We all know, if you've read anything about the history of these movies, we know John Carpenter was very resentful to write this movie.
And Deborah Hill helped him out.
Didn't want to do it. He and Deborah Hill wrote it literally, with a 6-pack helping them. It was a drunken weekend, and they just wrote it just to get the paycheck.
Right.
So Halloween 2, again, I like the continuation. I like that they follow it to the hospital. Because again, what's more creepy than a hospital? No one likes being in a hospital, and now. So I liked that angle of it. What I don't like is, and I'll say this: when I discover the movies, obviously, the first one's so impactful, and you're so excited to see where the story leads that you just eat up all the sequels, excitingly. But then going back and reevaluating, I really don't like the brother-sister angle. Because now here's the thing about the brother sister angle that I took away from it is now it's just solely based on Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie.
Right.
He is no longer scary because now you're safe. He can't just come after you. You know what I'm saying? Like he is, his motivations is now narrowed to family and family only. And unless you're a close friend of them or you're a part of the family, you're safe.
Right.
So I really, over the years came to really dislike the whole family connection. I know a lot of people don't like that take.
Yeah.
But that's just me, and that's I think why I liked David Gordon Green so much is because they do eliminate the family connection.
Right.
And again, that also kind of rolls into why I like. I won't say I like, but I have certain perspectives on Halloween Resurrection. But we'll get to that when I get to
because he Rosenthal directed Resurrection as well.
Yeah,
so.
Yep.
Now, the thing, everyone talks about Michael Myers' superpowers. How the hell did Dr. Loomis survive that big blast at the end of Halloween 2? That boggles my mind, and it bothers me more than anything else.
Right.
I was like, how does he survive? I mean, yeah, they give him some charred skin, and he's walking with a cane, but come on.
Right.
I mean, there's no indication that Dr. Loomis is a superhero. So I guess he was written in the clause as well as Mike Myers. Resurrect him. How? Doesn't matter how. It's just it takes the human being factor out of Dr. Loomis, because that's the thing that puzzled me, is how the hell does Dr. Loomis survive getting blown up? He was in the room when he blowed up with all the oxygen tanks. Right. How does that happen?
Right. Well, I mean, again,
movie magic.
Movie magic.
Yeah.
And
it's terrible.
When John Carpenter wrote Halloween 2, it was supposed to be the end of Michael Myers, which is why he literally blew the whole thing up, because the concept of Halloween was going to be an anthology franchise with the name Halloween being the blanket. Right. To all, which is why we got Halloween 3. And
I love Halloween. I don't love it as much as the first one, but I just, they call it Halloween Season of the Witch. And again, that title, it means nothing. Right. Because it takes place on Halloween. Okay. So there's Halloween, but Season of the Witch, it's like, there's no indication of witches other than a dialogue about Stonehenge. Right. But it's a fun movie, and I really liked it a lot more than I thought I would. Right. It's got its charm. It's cheesy, but the ending,
Yeah, Halloween 3 is just one of those fun cult movies that just grew over the years. Yeah. I mean, it is just as popular today.
There's still fans that are mad that it's part of the franchise. It's not part of the franchise. It is, but it isn't. Right. It's one of those weird, quirky...
I'll argue that had they not put Halloween over the title when it first came out, it would have done way better. Right. You put Halloween over the title, by then people are expecting Michael Myers. And they didn't explain that. They didn't explain that, it wasn't, explain to the audience that Halloween was going to be this anthology series where, as long as you had a Halloween story based in Halloween or the day Halloween, right? That's what you're going to get, and that wasn't construed to the general audience. So when you see Halloween and you don't get Michael Myers,
people were upset,
very upset, very, very, very upset. And which is, again, why when they do Halloween 4, they put right in the title, The Return of Michael Myers, to get their audience back.
Right. And John Carpenter, Deborah Hill wrote the script for this. Yeah. And they
would have done more if they didn't have to go back to Michael Myers.
Right. No, I actually like this, and it was cheesy enough. You got Tommy Lee Wallace
directing it, and he was,
and did he create all the masks though? I don't
think he created the masks. I do know he was supposed to do Halloween 2, but wanted nothing to do with the Michael Myers story. Right. Which is why he backed out. Right.
Well, I'm glad he did, because this was a quirky, unique movie, and even today watching it, it's like it's still out there. The plot. Yeah. I mean,
and again, you see a lot of John Carpenter's influence in this movie. Right. Because he's a big fan of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Right.
There is that kind of vibe to it.
Well, even the end when Tom Hankinson's are screaming into the phone, it's the same ending as the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
No, it was cool. He paying homage to his favorite films, but making it his own. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's not too complicated. No, I do wish they would have delved more into how the masks worked, because it obviously alluded to kids watching too much TV, and there's kind of an anti-kid message thrown in there as well, which is kind of twisted, but it's interesting, and I agree. If it was called Killer Mask or anything other than Halloween,
Yeah.
it would have been much more embraced at the time.
Sure, absolutely.
Because it fit the cheesy 80s cult movies to a T.
Yeah.
It wasn't a slasher movie like the other Halloween, but there was a lot of cheesy, weird movies that came out in the 80s, and this is one of them.
Right.
No, I really enjoyed it, and I wish... I'm glad now that more people like it, but I kind of wish that we could have gotten more of John Carpenter and Deborah Hill's anthology treatment, because
right.
I would have liked to seen what other things they had up their sleeve. Because I mean, obviously Mike Myers was great, but so was this.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and again, the popularity of Halloween 3, especially within the last 5 or 6 years, is really been incredible. I mean,
they beautifully restored Halloween 3. It's beautiful in 4K. I don't have the 4K edition, but maybe someday if it's at a decent price, I might pick it up. It's worth watching again.
Yeah, and like I've said before, at my old retail store, I used to have all the Silver Shamrock masks.
Oh, did you? The theme song. Oh my god!
They always sold. I could never keep, just like the Michael Myers mask, I couldn't keep them in the store. I had some Silver Shamrock like tin signs.
Yeah,
that I couldn't keep them in the store. Fright Rags has a whole line of Halloween 3 T-shirts and gear. I know it's one of their top sellers. So yeah, Halloween 3 is very, very popular today, and rightfully so. It should be.
Yeah,
it was a good movie. I think if they didn't put Halloween 3 above the Season of the Witch title, it would have done way better.
Oh yeah, I agree. And Dan O'Hurley, you could tell he relished that villainous role. Just one of those greedy CEOs, wanted to rule the world and kill everybody. It seemed, at least all the kids.
Yeah,
he killed plenty of adults in that movie too. But it's interesting. And again, the sci-fi angle was more fascinating than the horror part. You know,
right?
How did he get those people to act like robots? Like, just, it was interesting.
Yeah,
I wish they would have delved more into that. You know, I don't want to. What makes this guy tick? Because he wasn't the main character, but at least, you know, some of the. I don't want it over explained either, but to me, it wasn't executed the best. And I feel if Carpenter had directed it, it would have been a lot better.
Right.
It would have been at least more interesting. I mean, Tommy Lee Wallace didn't do a bad job.
Right.
Know? But I think it would have been a lot better if Carpenter had directed it instead of just being involved with the script.
Right.
So that's I enjoyed Halloween 3.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I enjoy Halloween 3 too. And like I said, the popularity of it has just skyrocketed over the last, I would give it, like, say, 10, 15 years. It's really blown up.
It has. Dan O'Hurley, he is an Oscar-nominated actor. He was just, you could tell he enjoyed chewing up the scenery in that. So
yeah, no, I can't even remember my list. So you know what? We're just gonna keep going in order. Let's. So Halloween 4.
Yeah,
they bring back Michael Myers. Right in the title, Return of Michael Myers. This wasn't a bad movie. Obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis had become Jamie Lee Curtis by then, and was doing everything she could to distance herself from the horror franchise in general, because she had done 6 horror movies.
And they kill her off screen. It's like she's dead. It's like, and she somehow had a child.
She had a child, and the story in Halloween 4 is that she was killed in a car accident.
Yeah, they don't really. I know, but it's just, you know, she had a kid somehow, and
when a guy meets a girl.
Yeah.
Chris,
do a whole lot of begatting.
Yeah.
And so-and-so begat this one. And
things happen.
So-and-so begat that one. And so-and-so and Laurie Strode begat Jamie.
Yeah, yeah. And so Jamie, is Jamie Lee Curtis is Laurie Strode's orphan daughter.
Right.
She's picked up, adopted by the Lloyd family.
Yep.
And I think what Halloween 4 did really good was establish the little sister big sister element in the movie.
Right.
You could tell they really loved and cared
about
each other.
It was her adopted sister. She didn't have to care as much. And there's a little bit of selfishness at the beginning, but you could tell she really loved Jamie.
Yeah.
Rachel, right?
Rachel.
Yeah.
Played by, what's her name? terrible with names. Ellie Cornell.
She would show up again in 5.
She would show up. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I didn't. So again, I really think this was a good take, a good return for Michael Myers.
Because it's literally 10 years after the original massacre.
Yep. Hated the mask.
Yeah, so bad.
Why they couldn't get the mask right for so many years, I'll never forget. I don't understand why. But we get, like you said, Dr. Loomis is back. They both apparently have survived the explosion at the hospital. Again, you just got to kind of just chalk that one up to just movies being movies. There's really no explanation as to why these two survived it, but Donald Pleasance is back as Loomis.
And he actually kind of has to a certain degree, an annoying Captain Ahab kind of personality about him at this point. He's just a little too obsessed.
Yeah.
But you get Bo Starr as the sheriff.
Right.
And he's cool. I remember, that when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, that's the father from Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Henry's father in Goodfellas. He was also in Due South as well. He was a prominent TV actor too. So.
Right.
But I don't know. It just didn't seem, it was good. I surprisingly liked it up until the end.
Right. Yeah, no, it really is a good movie. They do tell a good story. Michael Myers in it, I really don't find him that scary.
No.
And I'll go back to this, and this is one thing I didn't say about Halloween 2 is, again, this is another unpopular take within the community. I did not like Dick Warlock as Michael Myers in Halloween 2. And unfortunately, going forward until we get to about Halloween H2O, Dick Warlock played Michael Myers as like a robot.
Yeah.
Whereas Nick Castle just played him, and it's just like he moved normally, like a normal guy, which was scary.
But it's Dick like a Warlock, robotic kind of.
Yeah, it was just terrible.
Right.
Fans, especially on the convention scene, they love Dick Warlock, and I have nothing but respect for Dick Warlock and all the other stuff he's done.
Right.
I just do not think he was a good Michael Myers, and kind of became the template to play Michael Myers in the sequel rather than how Nick Castle played him.
Right.
And you could tell, I even put shoulder pads on in Michael Myers under the jumpsuit. You can tell he was wearing hockey pads underneath the jumpsuit. Terrible. I'm sorry. But
well, I know Carpenter, he actually wrote a treatment for it. It was going to make it more ghostly, psychological. Michael Myers.
Yeah, he was going to go all in on the supernatural.
Right.
Like Michael Myers could regrow limbs and stuff like that. And then like at the end, like he grows into like a being that's like 100 feet tall, like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. There's an awesome book called Taking Shape that I've read, and it breaks down all the scripts, all the from it gives you what we got, but all like the drafts and scripts leading up to what we got is broken down, and it's really interesting. But yeah, John Carpenter's original take, he was going all in on the supernatural, and
it's not as bad as some of the other plots that would develop in these movies. Yeah, it would have at least been, it would have made more sense. But they somehow they call this part 4 like the start of the Thorn trilogy. It's like a trilogy within the franchise.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating.
It's.
But why? Maybe you got more out of 4 than I did. I know they wanted to make Jamie into a killer, but it just the nothing leading up to the movie made it seem plausible or that we wanted to see that. It was just it seemed like it was a mess. It was thrown in at the end where there was no clear, they don't even build suspense around it, that she may be the killer. At least at the end of Friday the 13th, part 4, you get a little, hey, he might actually become a killer like Jason.
Right.
They don't even allude to that in this one. I know why they wanted to shock, but it didn't have that effect on me. I don't know about you, but it seemed kind of messy.
I think they definitely wanted the shocking end. They wanted, and I think the writers, because again, the writers for the 4th movie Carpenter
wasn't involved with this one.
No, he wasn't. No, what I'm getting at is the writers of this movie were supposed to do 5, and they ended up not doing 5.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole vision wasn't fleshed out. So I think the original plan was it's going to be like a transfer of power. Like now Jamie's the new Michael Myers,
right?
And that's what they were getting at. And so, like I said, if you read this book, Taking Shape, it gets into all the background stuff of it, and the sequels really had issues with writing. And
I could tell
the Accads not being able to agree on a proper story to go and signing off on a proper story, and then you get into like Halloween 6. Now the Weinsteins are involved.
Yeah,
so we're really getting into territory where the background, the politics of this franchise really start to play a major effect. So again, what I know is the idea was that for the 5th movie, Jamie was going to like take over for her uncle.
right.
Obviously that didn't happen because we get to Halloween 5, she's in a mental institute, and they just talk it up
and
to.
She can't speak for whatever reason.
Well, they chalk it up to the trauma of the night made her lose it. And she's traumatized from being attacked by Michael Myers.
Right. And I think it's not just bad writing; it's also not great filmmaking either, because you don't feel any like you don't really empathize with the character as much. It's like they throw Jamie in there, and I don't really care as much.
Well, again, I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that they turned it into a family thing.
Yeah,
I mean, like how
they started in part 2. And
I mean, again, how scared can you possibly be of Michael Myers when you know he's just going to try to kill his family? He's like, so stay away from the family. Seriously,
I know.
Stay away from the family. Whereas in the original, that could have been any one of us,
right? And part 4 was in the ending. I've said it before. I know it's part of it is bad writing, but it's also bad filmmaking. There's just the shock value. There was none.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jamie's going to kill. Why?
Right.
And they didn't really. It's like it seemed like it was just thrown in there. It was a mess.
And I'm also going to say, this is not a knock on Danielle Harris, too. I mean, for both 4 and 5, for a girl,
she does an okay job
for a girl that young
for what she was given.
Take on.
Yeah, for what she was given, she did an okay
amazing.
job.
She was amazing.
Yeah,
and So 4 was really good. I think 4 did a really good job at reintroducing Michael Myers and establishing that family aspect between Jamie and Rachel that did make you care.
That part was not bad.
So when Michael's going after Jamie, and you see Rachel step up to try to protect her, like you cared at that point. And I think they did a really good job.
It's just that whole ending that meant to shock. It just had the opposite effect. It was just.
So then we go on to Halloween 5, and Halloween 5 is the revenge of Michael Myers. Okay. Halloween 5, like you said, they kind of go all in on this Thorn theory.
And they don't even really get into it until 6.
Yeah. What was that?
I think your phone made a message. No, but the thing is they again, messy writing, messy filmmaking. They randomly introduced this mysterious figure near the end of 5.
Yeah, the Man in Black, and
it's like, okay, what is the purpose?
So now, we're getting into some more legend and lore of Michael Myers. Kind of started in Halloween 2. Again, I love how he breaks into the school in Halloween 2, and it says as Loomis calls it, Sam Hain.
Mm-hmm.
On the actually the original pronouncing is Samhain.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a funny joke within the community. It's
yeah.
But anyway, Halloween 5, they really go all in on this tattooed Thorn symbol on Michael Myers' arm, and that this is why he's behaving how he behaves. It's a satanic cult that's controlling him.
But you don't know anything about that until 6.
Until 6, yeah.
And it's kind of like, and no one really cares because it's not really explored.
Right.
You get a mysterious figure that shows up and blows up the facility at the end where Michael Myers is.
Yeah.
And then Michael Myers is obviously taken away. And it's like, where are they going with this? It's
right.
just, and then, the big encounter with, Jamie, and it was like, is this movie coming to an end soon? Because it's
right. Well, that's just the thing. In like the whole movie 5 is just a mess.
It is.
Again, because
I know Donald Pleasance was not pleasant about it.
He wasn't
either.
happy about it.
No. Again, he had that Captain Ahab obsessed. He's overbearing.
Yeah, almost.
You wanted to shut him up too.
Almost abusive towards Jamie. When
he holds her up to try to bait Michael Myers. It's like that's not what Dr. Loomis would have done.
Right.
I mean, he's so protective of the kids in the first one. It's like, come on, no, that's not the way Dr. Loomis is.
Yeah,
it's just.
Well, I think this just goes to poor writing. But what they were trying to do is like he has gone crazy too. He's at that obsessive. I have to stop Michael Myers at all costs. Now I'm even going to sacrifice what he's after to try to do it.
Yeah.
And then when he falls, well, I didn't know. Apparently, when he falls on Michael Myers after he gets him in the house, he's supposed to have a heart attack and die. I don't know about you. I didn't get that. It just looked like he just fell on top of Michael Myers.
No, he looks at him in horror.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Apparently, he was supposed to have a heart attack and die in that scene.
There was some ad-lib stuff somewhere.
But yeah, Halloween
it was just a mess.
It's
not just the bad writing. It's also the way
you got
it
the
was
Keystone
executed.
Cops that were stupid. In it, you had. I don't want to blame the actress for this, but that Tina character. I don't know about you. I've never wanted to see anyone die so much in a movie. She was so annoying.
Well, they tried to see. I always thought she was going to be secondary to Rachel, and I thought.
Oh, I think that's what they tried to do.
Yeah, I don't. They somehow make Tina out to be some sort of hero. It made no sense.
Yeah,
it wasn't just the way Tina acted. It was like, what? Not only sloppy writing, but it was executed really badly as well. It's a combination of bad filmmaking, bad screenwriting, bad acting.
Right.
It was just awful from start to finish. I had a hard time getting through this one. I can tell you that. It was dreadful.
Right. And then we go down to Halloween 6. Halloween 6, had 4 different titles. It was Origin of Michael Myers, Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween 666. You name it, they named it Halloween 6.
Yeah.
Here's the thing
Curse of Michael
Myers. This is where I get into most arguments with the fans in Halloween. For whatever reason, this movie is absolutely beloved by the Halloween community. They absolutely love Halloween 6.
Mm-hmm.
I did not. It's, again, we have Michael Myers. He kills Jamie in the beginning. That has a controversy in itself because they were going to bring Danielle Harris back. She actually emancipated herself from her parents to do the movie. To do the movie, and they still they gave her part to someone else.
Yeah, it's like I know, like they were really accommodating to her in 5. I know her parents were really overbearing, from what I heard, and they were just awful. Because Donald Pleasance had to give his trailer to her. He felt out of the respect for Danielle, so she had more space. And
I listened to her podcast that she does with.
She has a podcast.
Yeah, she's done one for many years with the girl who played Laurie Strode and Scott Tyler Thompson.
Okay.
They've had a very successful podcast for the last few. I've never heard her reference any abuse towards. I'm just saying I've never heard her say anything about her parents that was overbearing. I've heard that she's made multiple references that she's just she was a typical child actor.
Mm-hmm.
But her emancipating herself to do Halloween 6 wasn't a knock to her parents. It was literally to get the studio and the union to allow her to do it.
Okay.
It had nothing to do with her having issues.
Okay.
She did it so she could do the movie.
Okay.
There was an age thing or a consent thing that was an issue with the politics of Hollywood.
Yeah.
So she emancipated herself to do the movie, and they still didn't put her in the movie.
Yeah.
You know.
Which in itself, it's like, okay, she has a kid, again, begotten and all that kind of stuff. But
Right.
it just, again, it seemed forced. It didn't really.
Well, again, going back to the Taking Shape book, if you read it, and they do a really awesome interview with Daniel Ferens, the guy who wrote the movie. First of all, it's one of those typical Hollywood stories where, what's the Paul Rudd and they go up to Daniel Ferens after the movie's been shot, and they say, "What happened to your movie? This isn't the script we wrote."
Yeah,
we read. So Daniel Ferens' script got butchered along the process because the Weinsteins got involved with the Halloween
that's the thing
franchise at the time,
and
they were making demands.
Say what we know, the Weinsteins aren't the best of people.
Yeah,
but for them to totally butcher a movie like this, it's not in their MO, because they embraced because of the Weinsteins. We have Tarantino. Mm-hmm. We have Studio Ghibli that was universally praised. We have Daniel Day-Lewis. We have, Gangs of New York was brilliant. I mean, again, it had some, problems, but again, you wouldn't expect the Weinsteins to helm such a mess.
Well, I think what happened was that there was a power struggle between the Akkads and the Weinsteins.
Could be, yeah.
And I think that, I know that's what it was.
Oh, okay. Well, tell a little bit about that.
It's basically the franchise was on its way to direct to DVD. The Weinsteins showed up to have control of the franchise, so it would be a theatrical. So it'd be a theatrical release, and they had the script. They had what they wanted to do, and the Weinsteins got to look at the script and what they wanted to do, and started playing. We don't like that. We want you to do this.
Right.
And it just became a constant struggle between, the Akkads, Daniel Ferens, the writer, and the Weinsteins. And it shows in the end
business part of show.
Yeah. And it just shows in the end product. And there's actually a producer's cut out of Halloween 6, which I wouldn't say it's better, but it makes the story, you can understand the story a lot more. And there's a lot more Donald Pleasance. That was the other travesty of the Weinsteins and the issues behind the scenes. Donald Pleasance's very last movie. Yeah. And a lot of his stuff was cut.
Right.
A lot of his stuff was cut. And you see it in the producer's cut, which is really nice to see.
Well, he also, I guess they wanted to get Brian Andrews, who played Tommy Doyle in the original. They couldn't find him, I guess.
Yeah.
He didn't have an agent. And I guess Andrews has stated since that he regrets missing the opportunity. He would have had another shot playing the part in Halloween Kills, but by that time he had retired from acting, and Rudd had a scheduling conflict. So, yeah, Paul Rudd, if it wasn't his first movie. It was his very first. Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing how his face hasn't changed that much. I mean,
some people just have those genetics.
Yes.
Man. They just have those genetics that they just don't age.
Yeah, the memes, they make memes about Paul Rudd all the time. But it was interesting. It was a mess. The movie was a mess, but it was a little bit a step above 5. But
yeah.
That's about all you can say. But the Thorn thing was, they actually have a scene that explains it, but it's like, and the man in black is Dr. Loomis's old colleague.
Boss. Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. Apparently, it's Dr. Wynn, the doctor that's following him out to the car in the original. Apparently, that's supposed to be the same guy.
Yeah.
It's
mess.
It's a mess. But again, there's a lot of people who really, really love Halloween 6, and that's cool. I don't feel the same way, but
yeah.
That's just that. So We talked about Halloween H2O already. Again, I loved that movie. I thought it was a good kind of return to form. Interesting enough, there was, the biggest issues with that movie was, the mask. They had like 5 different masks used in the movie.
Oh, really? In H2O?
Yeah, there was a mask made by K&B. Then there was a mask made by Stan Winston. And then they even tried a digital mask.
We all know how digital.
And the digital mask looked terrible. It was only in one scene that they forgot to edit out.
Whoops.
The K&B mask, you see in a lot of promo photos still used. It was literally just a blank mask with no features or anything like that.
Oh, gosh.
And then the Stan Winston mask is what they use in the movie. They did reshots with it, but even still, you can see some of the shots that they couldn't quite get all of that K&B mask out, so you'll see it in the distance. But I mean, whatever. I like the Stan Winston mask a lot.
Stan Winston's a genius.
Because you can see it. Like, the cool thing about that is, like, you can really see his eyes.
Right.
And you can see what he's, that's something you couldn't see in the other movies, was his actual eyes and watching them move and, like, so
after H2O,
we got Halloween Resurrection. All right. So now, I mean, this movie is universally hated by everybody. I'm going to give it a little love for a couple reasons.
Well, let's just, the title sounds a whole lot better than the original one, The Homecoming.
Yes.
We can agree that the title isn't bad.
Right. Well, I mean, Homecoming, what they were trying to do kind of would have made a little bit more sense, but Resurrection is a cooler title.
Yeah, it's a cooler title.
Yeah.
The Homecoming just sounds kind of lame.
All right. So the very beginning, the first 20 minutes, we lose Laurie Strode. He kills off the Laurie Strode character, and
again,
well, he never killed her in the original.
Well, in the fourth one, she's written off as getting killed in a car accident, so Laurie Strode is dying a second time.
Technically, yeah, but you find out in H2O that she faked her death because she was paranoid of Michael Myers. She's paranoid Michael would find her again, so she faked her death.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So after 20 minutes, she fakes her death. I haven't seen this one, so the resurrection.
No, she didn't fake her death. She dies.
Oh, okay.
She died. She's
but literally. Oh, so the explanation for 4 is she faked her death.
In H2O, the explanation for 4 is that she faked her death, gave her child up for adoption to hide from Michael Myers.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. So, yeah, in this one, like, he kills her. She's in an insane asylum because she goes crazy, or as you think she's gone crazy, because the way they explain how the ending of Halloween H2O is that Michael swapped places with an EMT, and she accidentally killed the EMT instead of Michael. So, yeah. So
it is frustrating.
He kills Laurie at the insane asylum after a little chase. And then we go to the main story, which is Michael's returning home.
To Haddonfield again?
To the old Myers house in Haddonfield.
Okay.
And you have Busta Rhymes. He is an online, reality TV host. And he's written a story, and what he's basically doing is he's live streaming 6 or 7 kids inside the Myers house for a night. And he's got some stuff planned for them to make it interesting and stuff like that.
But they win a money prize or something?
Yeah, if they can stay like the whole night, and it's like a kind of like a Survivor type
House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah.
That's what I immediately thought of.
He's got these kids. The house is rigged with cameras everywhere. He's putting these kids in the house. He's kind of doctored up the house. They're supposed to just kind of investigate, doing a pseudo investigation as to why Michael Myers was the way he was. Well, as you would, expect, Michael Myers shows up and there's people in his house and it doesn't go well for them.
No.
I know originally written, Freddy, Busta Rhymes' character, was going to be way more subtle. and because LL Cool J's character was so popular in H2O,
Right.
which was a subtle character. He
Yeah.
was just good at what he did. They kind of let Busta Rhymes rewrite and just kind of take over.
Big mistake.
And that's where you get all the kung fu fighting with Michael Myers.
There's kung fu in the Halloween movie?
Because Freddy loves his Chung Lee movies, and he's sitting there watching all movies that you would love.
Yeah, the Shaw Brothers.
Yeah, and he gets
man.
inspired to take out Michael Myers. So here's the thing, and this is where I get into again arguments with people, and they're friendly arguments. They're not like.
Right.
I like what Halloween Resurrection was going for. They were trying to eliminate the family story arc and return Michael back to just a random killing machine. I appreciate that. And they're also playing off technology at the time, which I thought was clever. Early internet, early reality TV. Early technology, like the final girl, the reason why she survives is because she's in a chat room with another friend, and he's watching the live stream, and he can tell her where Michael is at certain times.
Wow!
So like through like a BlackBerry type, So again, I think that you watch it now, and it's clearly dated,
Right.
But for the technology at the time, I thought it was done. It was a good move. Problem with the movie is the movie was executed horribly,
Like
absolutely
a lot of the
horrible.
previous ones,
horrible. There couldn't have been a bigger failure in execution in this movie if you tried.
Wow.
So, and that's the problem with the movie. I think they were going in the right direction. They just
went about it wrong.
And you know what? Other than the original, I think this is the best mask in the entire franchise. They really did
better than the original?
No, I said other than the original.
Oh, okay.
I think this is
I wanted you to emphasize that.
Yeah, I think this is the best mask they had in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, again, I've had replicas of it in my store. When you look at it, it doesn't look all that great. It kind of looks silly. But when you put it under certain lighting, it's very menacing. It's very creepy looking. And you really got that feeling in the movie when you saw Michael Myers moving around. Like, he looked scary. He looked intimidating with this mask on, and I like that.
So now we take a 5-6 year break, and then
so now they don't know what to do with the movie. There's rumors of a sequel, direct sequel to this to keep. Well, what they decide to end up doing is totally abandoning the original franchise. That's over. In comes Rob Zombie.
And then that, to me, it's not on level with. It's nowhere close to the first one, but I found there's a lot to like about the first Rob Zombie movie. Second one is, we both mutually agree, it's terrible. I mean, Malcolm McDowell is brilliant as Dr. Loomis.
Yes, and I told him that to his face.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he is a great Dr. Loomis. And I mean,
that's actually funny because I actually got him to apologize for Halloween.
Really?
Yeah. Because I worked at a convention, and he was literally the end cap to my table. Like, we were 3 tables away from each other.
Right.
I went and met him, got an autograph, and the guy in front of me, he was talking about Halloween, and he just kind of turned and looked at me. He's like, you could tell I was kind of listening in on the conversation, and Malcolm goes, "Well, what did you think about Halloween?" And I said, "I hated it." He goes, "Oh, I'm very sorry." I said, "But I really loved your performance. I thought you did a really unique take on Dr. Loomis." He goes, "Oh, then I'm not so sorry then."
No, I see. I disagree with you on Rob Zombie's Halloween because he wasn't going for trying to outdo the original. He because he loved it, obviously.
Yeah.
But I like some of his take. It's not 100%, but getting a perspective on Michael before he becomes a killer, it's interesting. Again, it's not entirely successful, but I did enjoy it. I don't revisit it as often, obviously, as Carpenter's Halloween, but he wasn't going for the same type of vibe. It was more of a exploitation picture.
Right. No, I know.
All of Rob Zombie's movies are exploitation pictures.
Yeah.
He loved the 60s and 70s movies.
Yeah.
I mean, he took his band White Zombie after one of Bela Lugosi's most iconic performances.
Yeah, no, I'm a big Rob Zombie. I love his music. I love what he does. I like his other movies. I didn't like Halloween because, and I understand what he was going for. I know what he was trying to do, and I appreciate that he was trying to do something different. But here's the thing: what made Michael Myers scary was you didn't know,
right?
And he gave you too much.
Yeah,
he gave you too much, and then even when he's adult Michael, now, you see him in every other shot. Mm-hmm. You know, that was the magic of the original.
Right.
It was like he was there, but you didn't know where the hell he was. You knew. I mean, like you saw him every 5 seconds.
See, I like the reversal of point of view to a certain degree. Again, I agree. It wasn't as successful as Rob Zombie wanted it to be, but there are some moments where he knows that's his sister, and he doesn't want to kill her.
Right.
He literally bows down before her, and she has no idea that's his brother.
Yeah.
She has no idea. See, that's the thing. Like, it's kind of like a reversal. Like, from Halloween 2, they realize but they don't realize Mike Myers in his past.
Right.
And that I think is effective to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. And they give much more prominence to Dr. Loomis. You get to see the struggles Dr. Loomis had with Mike Myers. Again, you're right. It does go too far. It really does. But I think it's about 75, 80% effective.
Right.
So I actually like the first Rob Zombie Halloween. I think it's effective for the most part. Again, it's very flawed. There are a lot of flaws in the movie. But it's imperfect, I think, and there are some good aspects to it. I'm not 100% seeing it from his point of view either, and I don't think you're supposed to sympathize with him. It's more of like an understanding,
right?
Which it could have easily gone into sympathizing territory.
Yeah,
but I love how I listened to some of the commentary. The kiss thing, the knighthoods of Satan or whatever.
Knights in Satan service.
He said, "What a perfect shirt to have for a vessel of Satan," because I think we all can agree that Mike Myers was not of God, of Jesus. He was there's a lot of satanic stuff,
right?
Being a killer, and I liked all of some of the subtle stuff in there, but I do agree that they went over the top with certain things. But another plus is how he used cult movie icons.
Oh, sure.
Bringing in William Forsythe, yes, he became like a prominent member in all of Rob Zombie's movies pretty much. But not only that, you got Ken Foree showing up, a big trucker going to the bathroom. And you've got Sid Haig, as the cemetery taker, and you got Brad Dourif playing the sheriff, which was cool. There's and even Danielle Harris shows up again.
Yeah, she plays Annie this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Annie doesn't die 100%.
Yeah.
He built up something kind of cool, and I don't know all of the backstory. You probably do, but it felt like he didn't want to do any more Halloween movies.
He didn't want to do a sequel.
He did everything perfectly as he could, and having the second, I saw the second one in theaters, and it was like, this really stunk.
Obviously I've never heard him say this, and I don't have connections to Rob Zombie to ask him. There's a lot of theories out there that he purposely sabotaged the second movie so he wouldn't be asked or expected to do a third.
There was a third. He was working on it apparently, and he got so upset he abandoned it, and they didn't know what to do, so they abandoned everything after the second one. Because
again, from what I've read through the Taking Shape book, second one comes up. He didn't want to do the second one. He basically convinced them to just let him have full creative control because the first one was a bit massive hit.
Yeah.
It was a big hit, and they let him, and then they did not like what they got, and not many people did.
No, it's a shame. It was like he wrapped up everything perfectly, even the alluding to Sam Loomis dying.
Yeah.
It was a good way to end it.
Mm-hmm.
And like all of the other Halloween movies, in my opinion, it's like, okay, got to revive him yet again.
Right.
You know? And somehow, again, just like Dr. Loomis exploding in the Halloween 2, he comes back again.
Right.
You know? It's like the two characters that won't die unless the actors die. So
Right.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, after Donald Pleasant's death, other than the Rob Zombie movies, Dr. Loomis is not in the storyline anymore.
No. Nope. So yeah, Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It comes out, kind of disappears pretty quickly. There's a lot of people like kind of like Halloween 3. I'm noticing they're starting to come around more to Halloween 2 and appreciate it a little bit more. Again, it's one of those things that I probably would have enjoyed it more if it wasn't a Halloween movie.
Right.
You know?
And I guess Rob Zombie, we were talking about how the Weinsteins, not the nicest of people. Rob Zombie had a horrible experience working with them, and he I guess he's disowned these movies.
Yeah.
Especially the second one. He said, the first one was a miserable experience for me, and so I was very reticent to do the second one. I did do the second one, and I thought, okay, well, the first one was a miserable experience, but it did well, so maybe it'll be easier. He said it was worse. He goes, I felt like they weren't trusting me on the first one because they wanted to make sure it was a hit, and now they weren't trusting me not to, screw up their hit. He goes, they would show me scenes from Halloween 2007 to try and make a point, and I'd be like, yeah, I know. I made that movie. Why do you show me like I've never seen that before? So there was a lot of...
Yeah.
And again, I don't think he had the thought in mind that, I'm going to do a sequel to this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then rumors of Halloween 3D.
3D, yeah, that's right.
Rob Zombie was at first attached to it, and then he wasn't. We just had years and years of what's going to happen with Halloween, what's going to happen, and they bounce back and forth between continuing the zombie verse or the zombie movies, or if they were going to go back to the original story. And then eventually what we know is what they did was what we got in 2018. So David Gordon Green's Halloween.
So we get like a 9-year absence.
Yeah. I don't like that they just called it Halloween.
Yeah.
Because now this is the third movie in the entire franchise just called Halloween. I like the original title. It was supposed to be called Halloween Returns.
Okay.
And all right, so this is where I did like this first movie a lot because they erased the family arc, the family story.
Right.
So now this is literally just a direct sequel to the original Halloween.
Right.
Even Halloween 2 didn't happen. So what you're taking into this movie is that Michael was caught and arrested after the events of the original Halloween, and he's been in Smith Grove ever since.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. Laurie, Jamie Lee Curtis is back. There's the, I know you can't see what we're looking at right now, but Chris just pulled up a picture of the K&B mask from Halloween H2O, and I was just pointing that out to him. Anyway.
So he looks kind of older from what I'm looking at the cover here. Oh, no, wait, that's a different one.
No, I don't know what that is.
So anyway, I've never seen these Halloween movies, so I'm trying to follow along with Adam's take on it. Keep going, Adam. Don't mind what I'm doing.
So we find Laurie, and she is basically an isolated hermit. She's booby-trapped her entire house. She's lived 40 years paranoid of Michael Myers escaping again and coming after her.
Right.
Like she's she's Linda Hamilton from Judgment Day. Like she's trained her whole life to prepare for Michael Myers to come back after her.
Right.
Even to the point where she's, her child was taken from her. Like there's a whole backstory of her being totally psychotic and traumatized by the events in 78.
Right.
So,
and we might want to add that John Carpenter and Deborah Hill come back as co-writers.
Well, Deborah Hill unfortunately passed away in 2005.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She's just credited.
She's
then.
just, and she'll always be credited because she was part of the original concept. I do know John Carpenter did help a lot on the 2018 movie. He didn't in the sequels. But anyway, so this movie plays out where Michael Myers escapes. They kind of use so they have podcasters go to try to visit Michael Myers. They're doing like an investigation on the 78 murders.
Gotcha.
And trying to figure out what made Michael tick.
Right.
And they actually end up getting his mask somehow out of police evidence, and they bring his mask to him at Smith Grove.
Wow.
They don't give it to him, but this is what you're led to believe that his catalyst for him making his escape as they're transferring him to another, because Smith Grove is closing down. We find out,
right,
and they're transferring him, and just like the original, he takes his opportunity and escapes, hunts down the podcasters, gets his mask back, and now we have, he's returned to Haddonfield, to just destroy everything in his path. Mm-hmm. I've shown you the no cut take that was brilliantly done in the movie, where he just shows up in Haddonfield and just starts going from house to house.
Yeah,
and I love this. Like, it's like old Michael Myers is back. He's kind of creeping around,
but like the original, he's known as the Shape and not as Michael Myers, which is kind of a nice ode, and probably a lot of the John Carpenter influence.
Yes, he's hiding in plain sight. Yep. He's he's doing his little pranks again by putting sheets and pumpkins on. He's doing what we remember Michael Myers to do.
Right.
And I think again what David Gordon Green did really good recapturing was the whole he's there, but where is he vibe. And probably the most controversial part within the community, and one I didn't like, I know my brother absolutely hates it. All right, so we have this guy named Dr. Zartane. He's kind of like the new pseudo Dr. Loomis.
Okay.
But he is obsessed with hearing Michael Myers speak, because Michael Myers hasn't spoken over 40 years. He's trying to get into Michael Myers' head. And basically the only reason why Laurie and Michael end up having a face-off like they do is because he kind of forces them together. Like, Laurie shows up, and when she realizes Michael's back in Haddonfield, confronts him or shoots at him, and Michael just kind of disappears and does his own thing. Michael then it gets. I'm trying to remember how it plays out. I think Michael gets taken down somehow, and Zartane and the cop. I can't remember the actor's name who plays the cop. They take custody of Michael, and Michael's kind of in the back of the squad car, unconscious, and Zartane puts on the Michael Myers mask, which is like sacrilegious, kills the cop, and then he picks up Laurie Strode's granddaughter, puts her in the back of the car with Michael Myers, and he's driving them to Laurie's, booby-trapped house, and that's where the final confrontation happens. I think it's really well done. I think they did a really good job. Like I said, Michael, like, they totally take out the family element of it. Even there's dialogue saying that, wasn't he her sister? Like, no, that was all made up by the press, type stuff.
I like that part. Right there.
So basically, it ends with Laurie and her daughter and her granddaughter trapping Michael in the house and setting fire to the house.
Gotcha.
And that's where it ends. Halloween Kills, all right, picks up right where, like, the original Halloween, same night, right where it left off. Laurie and her daughter and granddaughter are escaping, and they see the fire department going to the house, and they're yelling at let it burn, keep them in there. Well, Michael escapes, as we
Of
know.
course.
Michael escapes the fire. And I'll give it Halloween Kills. The first 45 minutes is really good. It's a really good continuation of the havoc he's causing that night. There's some really, really creepy, scary moments. And then, I hate to say it, but this is where David Gordon Green kind of goes political on us with mob mentality, commentary on mob mentality. So apparently, what you find out is 2 inmates escaped from the bus crash that Michael Myers escaped from. They find the other mental patient, and they think it's Michael Myers, and like this whole mob of people gang up and kill him. And they just repeat, evil ends tonight, evil dies tonight, or something like that. And it's really annoying and it's really stupid. And by the end, they do corner the real Michael Myers, and Michael Myers just slaughters everybody.
As usual.
And then there's like a dream sequence, but you can't really tell it's a dream sequence of Michael killing Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter. And then it kind of ends there with Jamie Lee Curtis getting up to kind of like take her revenge on Michael because she can hear her daughter dying through the phone. And
then it leads to Halloween Kills.
And then we go to Halloween Ends.
Okay, that was Halloween Kills.
Yeah, Halloween Kills ends there.
Okay.
And you think, the third movie is going to be Jamie Lee Curtis's revenge on Michael Myers.
And it turns out not to be?
No, it turns out it's 5 years later. Jamie Lee Curtis is like normal Laurie Strode again from like the original movie, baking cookies, having fun, being happy. No one knows what's, Michael Myers is now living in a sewer. And then we have this whole sub story with this other guy who accidentally killed a child on Halloween night the year before. He was, wrongfully convicted. He was charged. His reputation was ruined, and now he's back out in public, and he's just kind of like this really messed up kid psychologically because he accidentally killed this kid he was babysitting. And there's this whole backstory. It leads into him finding Michael in the sewer. And then, everyone thinks Michael Myers is back killing, and it's actually him dressed as Michael Myers because, and this is what pisses me off about it. Like, we spent 2 movies making Michael Myers out to be this, like, unstoppable force. Yeah. And now a teenage kid is beating him in a wrestling match for his mask.
I remember you've said that a couple of times.
The more I talk about Halloween Ends, the angrier I get. So I'm going to end it there.
Yeah.
It's a horrible movie, and it was a horrible way to end that trilogy.
Yeah, and I know they're trying to get something else greenlit. They've already teased something for next year.
Next year we're going to have a Netflix series. So now,
well, I've seen. I don't know. It may not be real because it's the internet. We've learned not to trust everything on the internet, but they've put up this poster teasing another Halloween movie coming out next year, potentially. But a lot of people are saying, I'm not going to put a lot of stock in this.
The only thing that I've read officially from the studio itself, from Universal and Blumhouse itself, is that next year we're going to have a Halloween TV series with Michael. It's going to be a continuation of everything, but it's finally happened. That they've been trying to fight off since Halloween 6. Halloween is now a direct to streaming, direct to DVD, direct to whatever franchise, kind of like Hellraiser is.
Right.
So it's not going to be a theatrical. It's going to be like a Netflix series or something like that, or some sort of streaming service. It's going to be a 10-episode Halloween series.
Well,
what they do with it, I don't know any of the details of what the plot is supposed to be, or even if Michael Myers is supposed to be in it, or what storyline they're continuing,
or what other messy stuff they're going to bring into it.
But that is the only thing that's been confirmed by Blumhouse and Universal right now.
I other than Rob Zombie's Halloween and Season of the Witch, which really had nothing to do with the Halloween franchise, I'm satisfied in just owning what I think is the complete Halloween franchise. I only liked the first one. I only liked Rob Zombie's first one. Let me be clear. I did not like the second one. And I do love I don't love, but I do really like Season of the Witch. I think those are the only 3 Halloween movies I can easily say that I enjoy.
All right.
So that's my opinion.
I would recommend you check out H2O and at least the first David Gordon Green movie. I think you might appreciate them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the sequels, in a nutshell, people.
What do you think? Do you disagree with me entirely that all of them are great, or do you only like the ones I like, or do you agree with Adam's picks? Either way, just comment below, subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, X. Our handle is at Scared for Reals.
We'll see you next time on Scared for Reals.